Petroleum Minister Desiani Alison Madueke takes over as first female president of the petroleum exporting countries, OPEC. Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Forum wants federal government to encourage local production of drugs. Plus, federal government to construct 1,000 megawatts power plants in Katsina State. Welcome to the news. I am Now Nigeria. We start on a very cheery note. Nigeria's Petroleum Minister Desiani Alison Madueke has been elected the first female president of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. The election took place at the ongoing 166th meeting of the organization in Vienna, Austria. Muplangda Kok now reports on this and expectations from this development.
Nigeria's Minister of Petroleum and Natural Resources, Desiani Alison Madueke, was on Thursday elected as the first female president of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, at the 166th ordinary meeting of the organization holding in Vienna, Austria. The minister had last year made efforts to become the first female Secretary General of the organization. She is the first female to be elected in the 54-year history of the organization and will run the office for 1 year. She replaces Libya's Vice Prime Minister for Corporations, Abdurrahman Attahar Al-Tashish. She was, before her election, the president of the organization.
Kind of reposing of confidence in the administration, the nation, in the person, and in the people. Her position puts her at a point where she can now raise a flag of Nigeria. Nigerian flag. The capacity to raise the flag higher. The capacity also to control the economy, not only of Nigeria, control the economies of the world, is also hinged in that position.
Meanwhile, crude oil prices have fallen to a 4-year low as OPEC nations meet in Vienna to discuss production levels. A cut in production appears unlikely as Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar and the United Arab Emirates said they have reached a consensus on oil output. Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
And more on Nigeria's exploits. Named and launched into waters by the Nigerian First Lady, Dame Patience Jonathan, at the beginning of the year, the NNS Centenary, the first OPV vessel from China, is set to sail home. Julieta Aino reports that the Chinese government donated an offshore patrol boat to the Nigerian Navy, even as they took possession of the NNS Centenary.
Finally completed and ready to sail home, the NNS Centenary has been signed for and delivered into the hands of the Nigerian Navy in the fulfillment of their mandate.
What is the desire of the Nigerian people is that we should have in place security enough that we'll be able to check social vices like piracy and of course what is topical in the matter to be harassment. This has been reduced to the barest minimum, and with the presence of this ship, I think I can tell you that we're out and we'll be there to check that we don't have cases of oil theft in the future.
Shooting fireworks to celebrate the success of the first OPV and the Nigerian-China military friendship, Wuchan shipbuilding delegates described this as the biggest project so far in the military cooperation between Nigeria and China, promising to speed up completion of the second OPV. Nigerian First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan, in her speech read by her representative Helen Mark, wife of the Senate President, said this vessel will make the Nigerian Navy stronger and more virile as they police the Nigerian waters and safeguard the country's offshore resources. She wished the vessel a smooth sail.
With the delivery of this ship and taking possession of it, Nigeria will benefit a lot of all the problems of smugglers, piracy.
First launched earlier this year, the first NN Centenary vessel has been delivered to the Nigerian Navy to enable it effectively police the Nigerian waters. The vessel will sail to the Nigerian waters in a few weeks on a journey that will take a minimum of 50 days. From China, Julieta Aino, NTA News.
Thank you, Julieta. We're here in Nigeria to receive that Thunder or NNS boat. Down here in Nigeria and talking health, Vice President Mohammed Namadi Sambo has expressed the commitment of the Jonathan administration to remove Nigeria from polio endemic country by the end of the year. The Vice President expressed this commitment at the meeting of Presidential Task Force on Polio Eradication. State House correspondent Hamza Musa Makarfi reports.
The Presidential Task Force is enlarged. Meeting with the Vice President aimed at updating government on polio eradication and strengthening routine immunization. This year, about 6 cases with 5 in Kano State across the areas of Gaya, Tarauni, Sumaila and Tudunwada were detected, while Yobe presented 1 in Gujuwa. Comparatively, Nigeria's commitment is paying up as developing countries of Afghanistan has 80 cases and 238 in Pakistan.
Our partners have been tremendous in supporting us. The WHO, UNICEF, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and a lot of others have been contributing immensely for the success we have been recording in terms of financial and technical support. Of course, the federal government on our own part has always redeemed its pledge in ensuring that the agency, the primary health care, which is the main driving force for the polio eradication, is well funded and that all our programs are going at full swing.
So I want to assure you that the Nigerian program is on course, and globally we've been acknowledged as the best performing program in terms of polio eradication. And let me also mention that because the polio program is working and working very well, we'll be able to use the polio program to contain Ebola, because it's the polio infrastructure that was used for case contact tracing and then surveillance for Ebola. So the program is doing very well, and I think we need to congratulate ourselves as Nigeria, and then appreciate and commend Mr. President for that leadership.
Towards achieving the target of exiting as endemic nation, the task force identified insecurity in Northeast as more children are being missed and operational challenges as impediments. There is also the risk of importation from some countries sharing contiguous border with Nigeria. From the Presidential Villa, Abuja, I am Hamza Musa Makarfi, NTA News.
At a time when all attention is tilting towards diversification of the economy, local production of drugs in Nigeria is engaging the attention of stakeholders in the health sector. Chiazalam Ekiye reports that the Nigerian Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Forum is asking the government to encourage local production of drugs by removing all bottlenecks.
Data from the World Bank revealed that Nigeria has a growing pharmaceutical market in West Africa, with over 120 pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities in Nigeria, and a market size of over $3 billion, offering over 20,000 different drugs in the ECOWAS sub-region. Apart from the huge market available, its quest to becoming self-sufficient in drug production is the importation of active pharmaceutical ingredients, which promotes capital flight. Worried by this, stakeholders in the sector are calling for a paradigm shift.
We want government to take these actions, reduce the tariff on raw materials and the machineries that we need, and then patronize us and protect us by ensuring that drugs for which we have adequate capacity
to solve its own, that Nigeria should take the forefront in the manufacturing of these drugs in Nigeria.
The government should protect us to achieve this single objective of providing quality medicines to Nigerians that will be available when they need it, that will be affordable, and that will be accessible to them.
I am pleased to say that Nigerian pharmaceutical sector is working in tandem with Mr. President Goodluck Jonathan's transformation agenda, whereby you are creating jobs for over 600,000 persons.
Stakeholders are of the view that if given the necessary support, Nigeria can truly take its lead in Africa and beyond. Chiazalam Ekiye, NTA News.
Moving on to financial matters, Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions wants stakeholders in the financial sector to support the federal government's drive to strengthen the country's economy and control trends that devalue the naira. This was at the screening of the Central Bank Deputy Governor nominee in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
Of the current hike in the interest and exchange rates, as well as the devaluation of the naira by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions says Nigeria at this moment needs professionals in the financial institutions who will bring to bear their wealth of experience in stabilizing the economy for national development. Having gone through the profile of the Central Bank Deputy Governor nominee, Dr. Oku Joseph Unanna, who says the Central Bank is committed to ensuring the stability, growth, and development of the Nigerian economy, the committee expressed confidence on his nomination.
The Central Bank will not pursue this policy permanently. If the oil market should improve tomorrow and we are earning more foreign exchange, this policy will be relaxed.
On behalf of the committee, I want to thank you very much for the performance that you put up. I think you're a perfect gentleman. You add value to the position which you are being nominated for.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, Senator Basi Etu, expressed satisfaction on the responses of the nominees so far and said the recommendation of the committee would be presented to the Senate at plenary for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nani, NTA News.
Now, one of the focal points of the Millennium Development Goals is the eradication of extreme poverty and hunger from 1990 to 2015. The actualization of this goal has remained a challenge for government and non-governmental organizations in Nigeria. Towards contributing to fight against the scourge, a non-profitable organization, Body Enhancement Foundation, embarked on a 5-day free medical and food distribution mission in South Nigeria. Correspondent Obiageli Ugoke has details.
The Millennium Development Goals, MDGs report of 2015, reveals that 1.2 billion still live in extreme poverty around the globe. In 2012, 9/4 of all children under the age of 5 were estimated to be stunted and have inadequate height for their age. Worried about how to tackle this trend, some concerned Nigerians in non-profitable, non-governmental organizations are keen into the fight against poverty by providing free medications and foodstuff to rural communities around the globe.
Doing a free medical mission and food donation program, which involves donating, giving eyeglasses, medication.
The team, in partnership with the Nigerian Customs Services, donated 600 bags of rice and free eye medications to the less privileged in South Nigeria.
Giving is an act of God. It's a gift from God, so there doesn't have to be a special reason to give.
They gave me eyeglass, they tested me and they gave me eyeglass. As I wear this, the eyeglass, I can read well, even small words I can read.
102 communities from 6 different local government areas benefited from the mission. The team, which comprises American-based Nigerian doctors, appealed to Nigerians to support the government in alleviating the plight of the people in order to meet up with the Millennium Development Goals on poverty eradication by 2015. Obiageli Ugoke, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the humanitarian consequences of nuclear weapons detonation resonated at the conference by the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, ICANN, ahead of December Vienna conference on the impact of nuclear weapons. Kirian Umayo reports that Global Civil Society Coalition of more than 360 organizations in 94 countries are pushing for new policies for nuclear disarmament. The report.
Africa became a free nuclear zone after South Africa dismantled its nuclear facility in the late 80s. And for this, the continent is in a moral position to make a case for free nuclear world, despite the fact that Niger and Namibia are the 4th and 5th largest producers of mined uranium, the key in production of
where technology has improved over the years. The people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki are still feeling the impact of that atomic bomb.
It's our own expectation that Nigeria is going to take the center stage for Africa once again to demand strongly that, yes, this is weapons of mass destruction and that the world demand that these weapons should be banned totally.
There are also concerns about the level of security of the nuclear weapons in Pakistan and inaccurate assessment of nuclear material in North Korea.
What we are even worried about now, not the usage by countries, but by non-state actors, by terrorist gangs or groups. If they lay their hands on this thing, I tell you, they can perish a whole country.
It is a desire that the entire Africa will come together, form a common bloc.
The Vienna Conference is framed as a continuation of the on humanitarian impact of nuclear weapons. ICANN campaigners around the world are concerned about further proliferation of nuclear weapons, as the world already has over 20,000 nuclear warheads. In Abuja, Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
Now to the power sector. The Nigerian government has concluded plans to construct 1,000 megawatts power plants in the state and a liquefied natural gas plant in Kaduna State to supply gas to the Kaduna power plant. The report, separate memoranda of understanding have been signed to kickstart the process.
The 1,000 megawatt power plant neighbor who signed on behalf of the federal will be left behind in the provide input without any source of gas. Therefore, the energy station became necessary.
Will help to stabilize the national grid. The national grid will have a lot of instability in one area, but as we conceive our own super, we need to have power plants all over the country. And so this is a very welcome idea.
The LNG station in Kaduna is the first gas pipeline-fed electricity project in the northern part of Nigeria. In Abuja, Mie Ogede, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. A recap of our major stories. We earlier informed you that Nigeria's Petroleum Minister, Desiani Alison Madueke, has been elected as the first female president of OPEC. You also heard that Nigerian Pharmaceutical Forum has urged federal government to encourage local production of drugs. Stay tuned for more after the break.
About 50 years ago, a child was born in the Abuja district of Ibadan, named Oluwaseyi Abiodun Makinde. This child is divinely endowed with philanthropy and kindness to the extent that he cannot bear to see people suffer around him. He has therefore taken it upon himself to touch lives and make impacts with various philanthropic gestures, scholarship to indigent students, empowerment, widowhood support, and countless others.
He has been doing a lot of things, despite that he's not in government. He's trying. He has done so many things for the people, bursting and work for the students, taking care of the widows.
Support PDP. PDP power. Omititu Ibaotun.
The FRCN, NTA and VON annual service of 9 lessons in Christmas carols is here again.
The program, which started over 10 years ago in Abuja as a local carol night, has grown into a national affair.
It's an exhibition of classical and Nigerian Christmas songs and carols,
featuring spirit-lifting renditions and in celebration of the living Christ.
Celebrated groups like the Lars Ekweme Choral Group will be there.
Theme, celebrating the Prince of Peace.
Venue, National Christian Center, Abuja.
Date, Sunday, 14th December 2014.
Time, 3 p.m.
Center, Dr. Paul Enenche.
For 9.
Coming live on Radio Nigeria, NTA and Voice of Nigeria, Sunday, December 14, 2014.
The FRCN, NTA and VON annual service of 9 lessons and Christmas carols.
Making Christmas memorable for you.
Thank you for being there. It's time for political reports. Leaders of different market and town unions in Lagos have appealed to Nigerians to support the federal government's transformation agenda beyond 2015. The union leaders made the appeal in Abuja while on a solidarity visit to the national chairman, Transformation Ambassador of Nigeria, TAN, Dr. Ifeanyi Oba. Correspondent Joseph Orok reports.
In what the union leaders described as solidarity to President Jonathan's re-election bid, the delegation said they are in Abuja to ascertain the progress so far made by the transformation ambassadors of Nigeria.
For crying out loud, in Nigeria today, I don't think there's any office, nobody that have not craved for second term in office. Why should his own be different? We should allow him to do the second term and we have peace, and any other person that will come will do his second term.
For him, no problem. Okay? That is why we're here to witness, what is happening and to know.
TAN National Chairman Dr. Ifeanyi Oba, in a session with the union leaders, said the group is determined to sustain its mobilization and enlightenment of Nigerians on the policies and programs of the Jonathan-led administration. Leaders of the union, who were delighted by the report presented to them, promised to mobilize Nigerians to vote for President Goodluck Jonathan comes 2015.
This is the best president ever since we grew and we know that Nigeria has started. He has affected so many lives.
We have good roads. When we are traveling to the east, you have good roads. At least you know before that it was not like that. And education has drastically improved. There are a lot of transformation he has really achieved. So
the union leaders promised to further enlighten their members across the country to support President Jonathan in the 2015 general election. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
On to other stories, the United States Embassy in Nigeria has reacted to the decision by President Barack Obama to announce a program of deferred action which would allow roughly 45% of illegal immigrants to legally stay and work in the U.S. The press attaché, Shane McIntosh, who spoke to newsmen in Abuja, also comments on the financial implication to the U.S. government. Phoebe Kaburuk reports.
The U.S. President had on the 20th of November used his executive action to announce the immigrant policy reform to provide undocumented immigrants temporary relief from deportation while awaiting Congress to pass the bill, which has been unable to agree on a general legislative overhaul of the U.S. immigration policy. Although the announcement had caused ripples across the U.S., the press attaché, Shane McIntosh, says the move is to ensure that checks on illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants are more effectively carried out, as well as to address three critical areas.
Immigrants are considered the backbone of this economy, and the way we deal with immigration reform will have lots of economic, political, and social implications for the future. And what the president wants to do is get this right. He wants to call Congress to order to come up with a bipartisan package so that the 3 points, the 3 elements of his executive order are well instituted. Cracking down on immigrants, illegal immigrants at the border.
He explained that the U.S. is committed to the issue of immigrant reforms, which has been a high priority for the Obama administration since coming into office in 2009. It is estimated that illegal or undocumented immigrants in the U.S. from 1990 to 2007 grew from 3.5 to 11 million people to date. Similarly, the U.S. Embassy Consular Chief, Stacey Hankins, says the U.S.-Nigeria partnership has remained strong, especially through the facilitation of legitimate travels to the U.S. Stacey Hankins said between October 1, 2013 and September 30, 2014, 220,000 visa applications were processed, a sizable increase from the previous year.
And there's no limit for the number of visa applications that we approve. If every person who came into the embassy here in Abuja with an application was determined to be qualified, every person would be issued a visa, and the same in Lagos.
She hopes that the number will continue to grow and looks forward to working with their partners to allow for more qualified tourist and business travels. Phoebe, NTA.
Now sports. Nigeria's on sports update with Ayodeji Makinde.
Nigeria remains in the 42nd position in the November FIFA rankings released on Thursday. The outgoing Africa champions who recently missed out of AFCON 2015 are now ranked 9th in Africa, behind the continent's highest-ranked team, Algeria, who are 18th in the world. World champions Germany continue to unchanged world top 5. Says it will not relent in its efforts to discover talents that would return the country to our halcyon years in the sport. This was echoed at the ongoing 46th Ashojuaba Championship in Lagos, which saw Samuel Sampson and Wahab Isiaka emerge as men's doubles champion and Amina Fashola and Sidika Yahaya as women's doubles champions.
It's the 46th edition. And they have won it!
We're in the process of building a new national team, some new players coming up, so it's quite satisfactory. We expect them to improve with the right coaching, but at this level now, I think they've done very well.
Tributes continue to pour in from across the world following Thursday morning's death of Philip Hughes. The 25-year-old cricketer passed away 2 days after he was struck by a bouncer in his skull while playing for Australia in the Sheffield Shield match in Sydney. With sports updates, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
And it is with the sports updates that we wrap up the news. We're glad you watched. Thank you.